Hello, and welcome to this edition of the Angels and Destiny show. Why is this show called This You May Ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make, firm, establish. So my guest and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And of course, I love working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I will introduce you to my wonderful guest, Joan of Angels. But before that, I would like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to both of us to connect with like-minded people. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy. And I'm a spiritual guide and healer who's passionate about helping you reconnect with your divine presence and step into your purpose. Now, through angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, guided meditations, and exploring past and future lives, I support you in healing your past and creating a soul-aligned future. Now, my journey has taught me with the right tools and guidance, we can all connect with our higher selves, embrace transformation, and live a life full of purpose and abundance. Now, each episode of this show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or oracle card reading, with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Joan of Angels, about protecting the soul's blueprint. Now, Dr. Joan Hangarter, known as Joan of Angels, is a visionary guide and transformational speaker, dedicated to helping awakening souls step into their highest calling. With a doctor of chiropractor, a master's in counseling, and decades of experience, she bridges spiritual insight with practical tools for life and work. Through her Soul Vision membership and angelic teachings, Joan helps visionaries and leaders reclaim their purpose, dissolve hidden blocks, and activate their divine blueprint with clarity and confidence. Now, with testimonials such as Amazing Joan of Angels is a profound, intuitive, guided channel artist and healer. She is a miracle in my life, and I highly recommend everything she does and is. Her energy, words, and transformative workshops and events are a highlight of my world. Joan is truly a gift, and connecting with Joan was a real blessing in my life. I highly recommend her guidance. She is truly intuitive, and I immediately felt seen. After our session, I felt energized and empowered. So, without further delay, hello, Joan, and welcome to the Angels and Destiny show. How are you today?
Oh, Ray, well, first of all, I'm better than ever after listening to that. And then those beautiful testimonials, I'm not even sure I've seen those. So
Uh,
thank you so much.
you are welcome. So, before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you not only can you share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, both live or on the replay, as both Joan and I want you to be part of this conversation. So, please don't be shy. So, Joan, why don't you tell us more about your journey and how we can discover how to awaken our inner blueprint and step boldly into the soul vision that we were born to live?
Well, that's so funny because you just said it's a great question. You just said, don't be shy. And I realized that shyness is a blueprint. I was shy my entire life. And so I've always vacillated between coming out as a leader and coming out as a shy person. And when we talk about stepping into our soul blueprint, we're talking about, like, what is that vision that you are here to do? What is that destiny you're here to do? And certain things like shyness are things that we need to learn how to handle and let go of and dissolve so that we can actually be on that divine blueprint of ours. So it's interesting to be on the divine blueprint. You actually have to let go of your shadow.
Cool. And I think that's a lot of people have that difficulty with that shadow. So explain how you might see the shadow, because obviously there are people who go, yeah, everyone talks about shadows, but I'm not sure.
Shadows are the places inside of us that we feel ashamed of. So, God forbid you should all find out about my shadow. So, there's that concept of it. But shadow is also how we hide ourselves, those things that we do that then cause us to then withdraw and not step into that power and that mission that we really came here to do. So it may show up as shyness, hiding it, rather hide it. Honestly, I was brought up hiding in closets. That was my go-to. And even today, when I want to say, when I start a show or do something, there's a part of me that would like to go back in the closet. My adult self who knows our destiny and our divine blueprint, literally sometimes has to take me by the hand and walk me to the microphone or walk me to the podium, where then I turn on and I'm in my happy place. But there's things that we tell ourselves and then things that we need to learn to let go of.
Cool. And how did how did, if you were as shy as around when you're younger, how did you start getting out of that? How did you start getting into what you do now?
Well, this is a practice I did since high school. I was in the public speaking class, and little did I know I'd become a renowned international public speaker, and I'm terrified of standing up in front of the class. But I'm more terrified of having to sit there all class in an anxiety knot because like not raising my hand. So I made it a practice because I was so scared to go first. Period. I just pushed myself up to go first and do my presentations and kind of then I could get over it and enjoy myself for the rest of it and breathe. And I think that's been one of my strategies, that what I'm afraid of, I push myself through. So I'm afraid of speaking. What do? I speak. Now, I'm not even making it up. I was so afraid of public speaking that I flunked student teaching in college. I was training to be a teacher, a middle school teacher. And I was so shy, like the teacher would come in and observe me. And that was so terrifying to me that I flunked student teaching. I had to go to my advisor and beg him. I said, I'll never teach. I promise you, I will never, ever, 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 ever teach. Just give me a passing grade. So he gave me a D minus so I could graduate. Ray, a month later, I was invited to teach. So I did teach, I have to tell you. But again, I still had trouble then because I hadn't handled being able to, like, feeling confident in my words. So I think really how I managed to handle that is that once I became a chiropractor, part of being a chiropractor or the mentoring group I went to is that I had to do a class every 2 weeks, a new patient class. It was mandatory for me to do this new patient class. And it was sometimes bad. One time I was videotaping it. I had a camera crew and my zipper was undone and no one told me about it. I mean, so this has not been a big, easy thing to launch myself as a speaker, but now it's second nature. Now I love the stage. I love speaking. My dream would be an international speaker around the world.
Wow, that's going from that to wanting to do that now, but still knowing that you still have that shyness within you that could hold you back, but you're not letting it hold you back.
And it rears its ugly head sometimes when I just go to an event and rather than, now here's another way. So I teach people how you can fluff your wings and how you can feel your most empowered self. I learned how to do that to protect me because I realized that I'm going to all these places and invitations and I needed to have another self work like I really just didn't want to go as shy Joan. Now I'm an empowered angel, Joan of Angels, and I would literally have to then practice fluffing my wings and being in my most gracious manner and raising my vibration before I would leave the house. So that when I would go to an event, because I looked like I was, very confident. And so I was able to sort of step into it and that's how I manage. And that's how I do it. Honestly, it's Joan of Angels who takes the stage. Joan of Angels is my divine blueprint. Joan of Angels is meant to speak. Joan can go in the corner later. Seriously. And I teach people that too because stepping into your destiny, like knowing who you are, requires a certain tenacity. It requires that you step up, that you start shifting your vibrational resonance, that you start looking for how you can be inner and outer, reflected together. And so whatever strategy works for you guys to move you past your limitations, I say go for it. However, you have to talk to yourself, especially in the beginning of getting yourself out there. You just take a deep breath and trust. Now, I know that's hard, but that's what us angels do. We take a deep breath, we trust, we fly.
Yeah, we certainly do. And how did you get involved with angels?
Oh, well, it's funny. I'm writing a book right now on angels and my experiences with them. But you know, as a little girl, I have to say I didn't know they were angels, but I had angel companions all the time. There was a painting on the wall, and then there were these things in my quilt. And I could go into a vision with angels and see myself either in the painting. I would lay there and I'd see myself somehow I'd suddenly be walking in the hills with them. And the same thing would happen when I'm homesick, laying in bed, and I'm sort of staring at my comforter, and suddenly I'm somewhere else. So I'm a Pisces. I have abilities to go in and out. But in 2013, what caused me to come out as Joan of Angels was I was begging for a miracle. Begging. I wanted a financial miracle. Send me a check now. I don't know if you've ever felt that. It was like, just help. And I heard this voice. It's Halloween evening, 2013. I have a group of people in the house, and I hear this voice that says, paint 33 angels in 30 days. And I look and I go, no, that's outrageous. First of all, it's too much work. The oil stinks, but 33 paintings, right? Or whatever it was, 33 angels. And so I said no. And then I heard the voice again. It was a little firmer. And I still said no. This time I had excuses. So you see, you get a call, you say no because it's too much. Then the next level is excuses, every excuse in the book. And then the third time they said the same thing. And then it was like a wake up call. I knew suddenly that this was my miracle, that even though it required me to do work and there was no guarantee of anything, I was being guided now that they were really taking hold of me. And so I began painting. And once I did the 33 angels and put them up in the now angel loft, a book falls off the bookshelf. A book by Solara Anna. What's her name? I have to go look her up now. But anyway, the book falls off the shelf, opens to the page that says, your call for angelic assistance has been heard. All right, you can't make this up. And that's the other thing. We know they're with us when these coincidences happen, that you cannot make it up. And then later on, the next time the book fell off, because the book flew off the shelf, it was to be one of the chosen ones you must choose. So that gets back to, which life do you want to live? Do you want to live your life undercover and not follow those dreams and voices and visions that you've heard? Or do you want to take charge and say yes? And to start saying yes. So I said yes. Then I said, what should I do with all this art? And they said, paint us and we will come. Who will come? Well, they told me to buy these huge canvases, and I started painting, and these beautiful divine beings started coming to me with messages for people. And my guides told me that I was a paintbrush for the angelic realms, a paintbrush so that us humans can see what the angel world looks like and have the energy of that artwork in their home, raising their vibratory frequencies. So literally, I got named Joan of Angels when I moved to the desert. The second day, some woman came up and said, I know who you are. And she says, you're Joan of Angels. And I said, okay, then I now know who I am. Because I didn't like my other name, it wasn't very powerful. And I thought she was going to call me Joan of Arc because I've always been a Joan of Arc devotee.
Yeah.
So that's my story, Ray. But it took me 7 years. So again, stepping into your divine blueprint and harmonizing, really harmonizing so that your inner self and your outer self reflect well, takes time. It took me 7 years to introduce myself as Joan of Angels and not die of embarrassment or shame or like, oh my God, you know, they're going to think, what are they going to think? And so, okay, so Ray, I very rarely share all of these little foibles, but I feel like part of today's show is humanizing the experience. You know, one doesn't just become a known figure or an international speaker just by hiding in their closet. And I know many of you out there are hiding in your closet that you have a dream or a vision or a mission. You have a soul purpose. It talks to you, it calls you. And when the call gets stronger than your fear, that's when it's time to work with a mentor to start helping you move forward. If I had had a mentor, it would have been much easier because I respond to what they tell me to do. It's like, oh God, she says I have to do this. Okay.
Yeah, but I suppose it's kind of like, how would you recognize, what your soul vision is? Because if you're not aware of synchronicities, which I think are absolutely amazing. I've followed synchronicities all through my journey, and they're just so amazing. When you talk about them, you go, well, you look back, you go, really? I followed that to get here. But it does require you to do work as well. But if people are going, that's great, but I don't notice these synchronicities, I can't hear synchronicities, how can I find my soul vision? How would you suggest that someone would recognize that?
Well, first of all, guys, I'm going to tell you that you actually do know your soul vision. It's a matter of remembering. And that's an important word. How do we remember that which we already know? And so, one of the practices that I teach my clients that we used to do is I take you back to your childhood. We look at all the things you loved to do as a child. Well, I wanted to be Joan of Arc, just so you know. I'm close to her at this point,
Yeah.
but but your childhood dreams are some of the ways, and the things that you love to do inside, that which resonates and cause you. If I was to have a electric meter, or a graph to say, okay, she's at the frequency of a 0 now, or now she's at a 5 or a 10. It's like really recognizing the frequency you're in different life situations. So going to your job every day, you may feel like you have no passion anymore. That's a sign. Okay, that's a sign that you might be ready to make a move. So it becomes, what are you really most passionate about? Sometimes we do a whole big poster board with you in the center, and you guys can do this. And all the things that people say, all the good, all the qualities about you, positive and negative, put them all around you. Talkative, um, collaborative, like whatever words people use about you, likable, compassionate, intuitive. They say, oh, she always knows what I'm talking about, sensitive. Those are ways that you can layer what your soul purpose really is based on all these qualities. Because here's the thing, Ray, when we're born, most of us are volunteers. Most of you guys are volunteers. You chose to be here. You're not just your normal earthling. You chose to be here. You're a light worker, a starseed, an angel celestial. And that's a different ball game. And so I can assure you that when you came down here, you had a clipboard, an energetic angel clipboard, little wings, that has your assignment on it. Plus, they wouldn't have sent you if they weren't assured. You had to guarantee before you got here that you knew how to do this. Okay. It even has all the skills you came in with, all the ones that you're starting to remember: your telepathy, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, your ability to see things, to know because you know because you know. Start writing what all those skills that you have are. They're going to start coming back to you. Compassion is an extraordinary skill. Gratitude, those things that you're known for, start reminding yourself of them. Because most of us, not all of us, but most of you, like me, when you got down here, there was an opposing force. Your memory gets wiped clean, so you don't even know about this clipboard. But your angels know, your guardian angels know. They have your divine blueprint. So you can, during this show or after, start talking to them. Can you help me find? Can you help me remember? Can you help bring to me those experiences that are going to remind me of my major purpose? We also attract from day one what I call the opposing dark forces, agents of of agents that come against us, that don't want us to live our vision. Why? I mean, because that's extraordinary. Here you are, 1 day old, and there's forces designed already to make sure you do not live that soul blueprint of yours, which is so powerful. Because the dark side, the other side, knows that if you attain your mastery, you're going to positively impact hundreds of thousands of people, even without opening your mouth. Your vibration will shift. If there's enough of us raising our vibration, they're not happy. So they come at us from day one. And honestly, many people never even get to stand up and remember that they're a starseed or a light worker or a celestial. So already, if you remember, you're halfway there.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's so true about, what you were passionate about as a child. And I mention this to people all the time. When I look back at my childhood, I was reading stories and telling stories from a very early age. What do I do now? I'm a storyteller. I guide people on their journey. I loved my kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope, the images on there, sacred geometry. I love looking at the stars and the clouds. I work with the galactic energies. There are so many things, I was open about my spirituality at school because I come from that background. My classmates knew what I did, and they wanted to do an Ouija board once. And they asked me if I'd come and help them do it. And I'm like, no, not really interested in that. And they said, but can you come and make sure we're safe? What do I do now? I hold space for people. So it is looking back at all those things you did. How do they reflect in your life now?
Well, first of all, I love how your whole childhood, this whole experience you're telling us about the things you love to do, are exactly the things you're doing today. And that is true for many of us. So for me, now underneath that shy self, my family used to always tell me that I looked like these famous actresses. And I also had a desire to act.
Phew.
Okay, but again, I was so shy. So here's what happened. My mom was seeing a behavioral modification, a very famous guy, Dr. Albert Ellis. And so she was seeing him because she was afraid to drive. I decided, okay, I'll go see him and I'll have these behavior modification sessions, right? Which I hated, by the way. I just hated. And I'm in a session one day and I hear this voice and it says, don't worry about acting now. You'll start acting when you're older, when you're in your 50s or 60s. Don't worry about it. I literally got up and walked out because I heard that voice. Now, I'm in my 50s or 60s and I'm talking to my guides. I'm going, well, what happened to all those visions that I had? I was going through all the visions I had as a child. And I said, well, what about that one of me acting? What about that one? Well, the very next day, I was at an event that I had a booth at, I was speaking at. It was called Earth Keepers, something like that. And a friend of mine walks up to me. She was more of an acquaintance at the time. She says, Joan, I'm the casting director for this movie, and I think you would be wonderful. I have a part for you. Will you come and audition? And that is how I got into my first movie years later. I thought that was pretty funny. So, I think that acting is something I really love to do, but I don't really do it. I found it very stressful to have to, well, I didn't find it as stressful as I would have thought. It was really memorizing a lot of lines. But it was really fun to do that. But it was fun because I'd always wanted to do that. And I know that I had that in past lives. But also, I had a very spiritual bend. So by 15 or 16, I'm doing readings. I'm doing astrology readings for people. I'm reading books about, psychic discoveries beyond the Iron Curtain and the land of Mu and Lemuria already at like 14, 15, or 16. No one I knew gave a crap about those things except me. Right. And that's another thing, what are you interested in that you'll never get other people to be interested in? Because the quote normal people, really, so that's another trend for me that I started. And what do I do now? I'm an intuit, I'm a guide. I stopped with the astrology, but I went deeper into other forms of intuition.
Yeah, but I think that's how our life evolves anyway. We do, we get involved with so many things, and then it just sort of like flows into the next thing, and then some things do fall to one side because we've completed that now. That's not part of our soul mission anymore. It's to move on to onto the other things.
Right. And people may not agree with your choices. So I'm 10 years old, and my mom and my brother sit me down and they say, Joan, promise us you'll never try to be an artist. Well, I happen to be a visionary artist, guys. They said, promise us you will never be an artist. You should be a bookkeeper or a teacher instead. And so my whole life, my dad wouldn't even let me go to college unless I promised to be a teacher. So don't even expect support from the people around you. In fact, you probably know you're right if they're not supporting you in it. And actively dissuaded me from doing all the things I love to do.
Yeah. But you ended up doing them anyway because the calling was there for you to actually do them.
And what is a calling, right, Ray? A
Mm.
calling is when over and over and over again you have a prompting to go abroad or go there or speak or launch a book or try something new. And if you hear that calling more than once and you start getting prompted to it, it's something to explore. Probably your angels pushing you to take a chance, take a risk. And
Yeah.
risk taking, guys, the only reason I'm on Ray's show is honestly, I've managed to do enough risk taking and appearing foolish to myself, taking a risk, and it worked out.
Exactly. And what is the risk? But it's the opportunity to do something different. It's to be curious about what if.
What if? What if? What if? Yeah. And so we all have that. And so I'm hoping that this makes sense to all of you.
Yeah, and for those of you that are watching, let us know, is this making sense for you? Have you got any questions, about your soul purpose, your divine blueprint? Let us know in the comments. So with our divine blueprint, we start remembering it. We look back at our childhood. We start listening to those prompts, those nudges. It is a case of taking action, isn't it? It's not kind of like, oh well, I'm giving that, so I'll go and do that tomorrow, or I might do that next week. It's kind of like taking action now.
Well, it is. And it reminds me when I used to get a lot of psychic readings. So I would go to the psychic, she'd sit here, I'd sit here. And every time I'd go, they'd say, different psychics, you really should be on my side of the table. Did you know you're psychic? And so took it going, oh my God, I'm psychic. Isn't that fabulous? Isn't that fabulous? I didn't realize that that gift was to be in service to humanity, that it wasn't about my ego, that it was a skill I had, and that actually I was being told to start to use it. And that's what I want to tell you about those things that you have inside you that people tell you you're really good at. Those are they're guiding you. They're giving you wisdom to maybe have the courage to take that next step.
Yeah. And it is having the confidence to take that next step. So how would you suggest someone has the confidence to take that next step? They're getting all these nudges and they're going, yeah, 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 oh, I don't know.
Well, first of all, there's several ways to look at that. The pain of being in that in-between zone is that anguish that you feel, that hurts. Some of us can't deal with it for long. So if it's painful enough, you're going to move out of it. but also because at some point that soul stirring wants you to get started. And it only takes a yes. Just a yes. Just a okay. You know, I don't know, it was about 5 years ago before I left the desert, and I was at a weekend retreat in Joshua Tree. And this psychic that I've been talking to says to me, "Well, can you call in ETs?" Well, I had never officially called in ETs ever. I mean, I mean, they came when they came, but I checked in, and then my guide said, "Yeah, tell her yes." So now I have committed to calling in extraterrestrials for this group of women in Joshua Tree. All right. Not that I know how, because I'd never did it before, but they're showing me that how to do it. You know, it's the same way I call in angels and start my readings, and and a circle gathers around me. There's 12 women. Now, those 12 women were actually foretold a few years ago in another reading I had that one of my initiations would happen, these 12 women. I didn't pick these women, they randomly showed up. The women who weren't supposed to be there got guided to leave the house. They were like, literally, I just got a message to leave. I'm not part of that circle. So I'm doing this process, and pretty quickly I hear this voice. I have close your eyes, look up. I hear this voice that says, "Joan, open your eyes, look up." And I say, "But it's too soon." And it says, "Open your eyes, look up." So I shout to the women, "Open your eyes, look up." And yeah, there's a ship, probably just a couple 100 feet above us. And it had all these flashing lights over it. And it kind of hovered for a minute as if winking at us. And then it took
Wow.
I didn't know I could do that. And that's the whole point, guys. There's so many things that you don't know you do, that you can do. If you say yes to an opportunity being handed to you, or you just say yes, you will discover you have skills far more than you ever knew.
Yeah, and it is all about that saying yes. So this book that you're writing, is that your first book? Have you written a book before?
Well, I have a couple of books. I have one on intuition, and which is pretty good. It's a great manual on finding your intuitive style, and it's on Amazon somewhere. And then I have another book I wrote, The Miracle Makers Club, Expect Miracles Daily. And that's a really good workbook book, kind of with a lot of processes in it. A lot of people love it. It's a cute little book, and that also is on Amazon. And in the next few months, I'm going to be bringing out my angel book, my kind of destiny book, and a book from Joan of Arc to Joan of Angels.
Lovely. I mean, I've always been fascinated by Joan of Arc myself. So, you know, that sounds so amazing that you know Joan of Arc to Joan of Angels. I love it. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I guess, you know,
You.
again, it's you taking the action and the steps to take the time to write these books.
Well, you have to, yes. So, guys, a book won't write itself. Just like a course won't create itself, or, you know, getting invited to go somewhere doesn't happen by itself unless you sort of initiated, you know, connection. So, yeah, this is a personal, you know, this is an initial, your life is a grand initiation. Every step you take that takes you to a new level is a new initiation and a new process and a new step. Think about where you were 5 years ago before you knew any of this might have existed. And you can see, oh my God, I shifted here, I shifted there, I'm awakening. And that's how awakening happens, step by step initiations of mastery. So that's what the ascension process is, raising our vibrational frequency, learning to harmonize, harmonic resonance with ourselves and with others, you know, learning how to align our inner vibration and our outer vibration. So we're an integrated whole. It's actually life mastery. I was going to say 101, but it's really life mastery. 15th dimensional graduation is where you want to go in the end. So it's a process.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Now, as you know, I do angelical card readings and I do guided meditations. And each week, I like to ask my guests whether they would like me to pull a oracle card for themselves and those watching, or do a mini guided meditation, or is there something you would like to do as well, Joan?
Well, I always have a deck near me. I used to do a lot of readings online for years. I had a show every week called Miracle Monday. It's still up on YouTube. And I would do lots of readings and activations. And I still do them, but not as much, but they're my happy place. You have a happy place, things are just fun.
Yep.
And even developing the confidence, Ray, to do readings. Just go develop your confidence, guys. Get out of your closet. Make it happen. All right, well, let's see what the universe has to tell us, okay?
Yes.
And I really love your show, Ray, and I
Thank
just
you.
love your attitude. And I love those wings.
I love my wings as well. So does my mum. She tried to walk out with them the other day. It's like, no, 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 they're mine.
She tried to leave your house with those wings.
Well, she wanted to take them with her. Let's
No
just
one can take your wings away. That's a
no one
rule.
can say no. I'm going to get her. No, maybe she'll get her own ones at some point in the future, just in case she's watching this.
That's so cute. That's so cute. Okay, Mom, get your wings. All right. Well, oh my God. So the card I pulled is very in alignment with what we're talking about. It's called letting go of your stories. Now, we don't mean the good stories like Ray being a storyteller or the stories I tell. We mean the stories that you tell about yourself that keep you hiding. I'm not good enough. No one's going to like me. I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. I'm too shy. I'm too anything. Forget it. Let go of your stories. Surrender attachment to your lower self, to your ego. Surrender. Release unconscious patterns. So, again, that's a synchronicity that I pulled the card that summarizes this whole show.
Yeah, beautiful. And we've got a new viewer. What a wonderful surprise! I've never seen this channel. Welcome. It's great to see. It's great to see new people. So, as you pulled a card for myself and Nash Joan, I'm going to pull a card for you and everyone watching as well, because funny enough, like you, I always have a deck of cards right by the side of me because I just love um, pulling cards. And as people know, when I do the cards what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. Because even though I work with the past, when we go into the past, we go into the past to learn, heal from it, see what gifts we got. So when we come back to the present, we're no longer worried about it. And when I take people into the future, it's so we can see, understand, and know the future, what steps we need to take. But that's so we can come back to the present, because everything is so much in the present. So, what does Joan and everyone who's watching this live or the replay need to know for their highest good at this moment in time? Well, the cards are behaving today, not jumping out, which is always good.
I like it when they.
You're gonna you just can't make this up. Stepping into power, you are strong beyond measure.
Oh, I think I have that deck. What deck is that?
That's The Sacred Traveller by Denise Lynn.
Oh yeah, okay, right. You are stepping into power. So together we did a complete reading. Surrender your shadow, your doubts, and say yes and step into power. Claim it, claim it, claim it. Because when you leave this planet and you have to sit with your angels and they say, how did you live your life? The idea of saying, oh my God, I was too shy to step up and do this. I had to go through that myself. It's just too much. You don't want to tell your angels you couldn't. No, I couldn't do it. It was too hard. And it is hard, by the way. It is hard. But you can do it. You came here to do it. And you came here, you have people like Ray and myself and other guides that really are all on the same wavelength as you now. We're creating a vortex. We're creating a frequency. We're creating a vibrational flow. And all you have to do is just say yes.
Exactly. Just say yes. So, Joan, do you have any other insights or last words of wisdom to leave our viewers?
Well, beautiful ones. I have been creating a Soul Vision Mentorship. I haven't posted it online yet because I'm just reaching out to a few people. But if you are interested, just hop on the website, joanofangels.com, and when it says contact me, send me a contact. Okay. Just say, you know what, Joan, I'm interested in really diving deep into my destiny, into what I'm doing. So that's how I'm going to leave that. And that would be so fun to work with you to do that. And I have a session on the website too called Soul Awakening, kind of spiritual guide, Soul Awakening. And some people use that as a first step towards the mentorship. But what you could do for me, guys, is to start to look at what Ray and I were saying and really make a commitment. I am committed to live and fulfill this vision that I came here to do.
Beautiful. And R says yes.
Yes, I love it.
I know, it's brilliant. Thank you so much. And what I'll do is I'll put a link to your website in the comments so that people can go and find you directly. And also I'll put a link to your Facebook and your YouTube channel as well, so that people can go and find you there. So I hope everyone that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful, because I know I definitely have. And again, I want to thank you, Joan, so much for sharing your wisdom today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And also thank you, R, for being brave enough to step forward and actually comment live. That's absolutely wonderful of you. And of course, if you want another free gift, then I do have a 5-day angel connection journey to open your channel to receive messages from your angels and guides. I also have my Angel Wings membership, where we have a live community that's very active, where we do lots of things together, including guided meditations. I take you to angelic reikis, past life, future life, guided meditations. There's a library of information for you. We have live calls, and it's somewhere that you can actually help develop your intuition and be supported along your path of moving forward. And of course, if you're ready to live your soul's purpose, and if you've been feeling the nudge to heal, grow, and align with the life that you were born to live, then I'd love to support you one-to-one. Why not join my Soul Path Discovery program to clear old patterns, connect with your soul's gifts, explore your highest potential, and create a life of purpose and abundance? And the comments, all the links will be in the comments for those again. And thank you so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more people who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny, just like you. And of course, if you are watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe and hit that bell button to be notified when this show goes live, or I post new guided meditations. And do spend the time to watch my videos, to watch Joan's videos, to watch any of my guests' videos, and like and share and subscribe all our offerings. Because by doing that, you really are, as Joan said, being part of that beautiful vortex of creating that beautiful harmonious energy that can only take us forward and help us all rise as we move forward in life. And I look forward to you joining me same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.